As the thing goes, we always start with some positive quotes to set us in the right direction so that we can orient ourselves in very, very beautiful and positive way. So I'll share some four or five interesting and really, really positive quotes with you. You can feel free to take a screenshot. These are your quotes. Feel free to use it, share it, that's absolutely fine. Okay. So one of the first quotes is that when you raise the stakes, you raise the standards, which means when you're truly invested into something, or when you are really going all out for pursuing a goal, then you increase the standard of your efforts. And when the standard of your efforts they increase, the output or the outcome also is increasing in that way. Okay, so definitely to raise the outcomes, you have to raise the standards, you have to raise the stakes. Now, this is about energy. So don't manage the time, manage energy. Energy is equal to focus is equal to attention. Wherever your attention goes, wherever your focus goes, that is where maximum time your energy and time will be spent. So always pay attention that where is your focus going? Is it going on things which are unnecessary? Is it going on things which are trivial? Or let's say social media takes a lot of energy, a lot of focus away from us. So in today's world, the time management is all about energy management. Right? And as human beings, we all know that growth starts when comfort ends. Be it the first step that we have taken, be it anything you want to achieve, it is really out of your comfort zone. For example, today being Sunday, most of us prefer that, okay, we'll just, just rest away the entire day. Some of us, they think that, okay, let us focus on certain things which can give us a learning, and learning definitely will be out of the comfort zone. So thank you so much for making that choice, for coming out of your comfort zone, joining this call to learn something new. And this is about human mind. I'm a big fan of the way how human mind works. It is a very, very interesting tool that we have. So until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Which means that a lot of times, some of the patterns of our own behavior, some of the ways in which we think, we operate, they are out of our conscious awareness. And the moment it becomes aware, we are aware of those things, that is where we can do something about it. Okay, so till the time you are always controlled by unconscious patterns of behavior, they will direct your life. And you all will keep on blaming fate. So what we should do is take that pause and notice what are the behaviors which are working for us, what are the behaviors which are not working for us. And all that requires us to do is, to make that shift. Understand, to shift your life, you have to shift your questions. So once again, I welcome you to this Sunday session where we are asking certain questions. I'm holding this coaching space so that you can bring your questions and we can think over it. We can shift our awareness. We can really make the invisible visible. What are those invisible patterns which are controlling us? Now, I have been blessed to have these mentors who have helped me in my journey, and they have contributed a lot from sharing their insights and their knowledge in terms of the way how a human mind works, the way how some of these unconscious patterns control us, or for that matter, understanding how we can become a better version of ourselves. So the vision of this science of mind community is to help make people more aware so that they become better leaders, better coaches, and better friends to each other. And the topics that I really specialize in is psychology, NLP, and mindfulness. This is what I'll be sharing. What you can expect is at the end of a 30-minute session that you have every morning, you will be gaining one tool, you will be gaining one idea from these fields that can help you get a little bit more clarity in life. Okay, so this is my promise. I'm not saying that you will be fully transformed or some magic will happen and we'll be a different person. No, not that. We are all work in progress. We are all expecting to become better versions of ourselves than we were yesterday. And to do that, my humble offering to you is that every Sunday I'll share one tool with you. Last time also I shared one tool, this time also I'm sharing something, so that collectively we all think, reflect, and we grow. And this is a completely free initiative. It's a pro bono initiative. It has nothing to do with any organization. I have put together a blog on this website, which gives you a little bit idea about who am I and what am I doing, why I'm doing what I'm doing. Okay, so if you're still curious, come every Sunday, learn something new, share it with friends. Feel free. This knowledge is yours to take, and always be curious to transform. Last time, if any of you would have paid attention, you would have, in the last class or in the last recording that I posted, it was about understanding the wheel of life. Now, wheel of life is an interesting concept where we said that there are 8 areas in your life, and in these 8 areas, you can choose and you can rate that what is your current state, which is the as is state, and what is a to be state. And it can be a goal for you in 2026 that, okay, maybe in one area of my life, I'm a 5, and at the end of 2026, I want to take it to, let's say, a 8 or a 9. And we understand that why that gap is, what can be the contributing factors. And the idea here is why we are measuring these aspects of life, because what gets measured can be improved. So the question I asked last time was that what are the 20% areas in the life which will give you 80% of the result. Okay, so I have few people with me on the call. Now we have Revati, we have Likhi. So Revati and Likhi, this is the exercise, and you can do it right now as well. Just take a sheet of paper, and these are the 8 areas. Like one can be family, one can be spirituality, or if there is no area that you have thought mentioned here, you can add that as well. And you choose that where are you today on that. For example, if let's say if I say in my career I'm at 4, and I have to, my aspiration is to go to a 8. Okay, so you take a minute and rate these areas in your life and find that where are the maximum gaps, and then I can give you the prioritization tool that I promised for this class. Okay, and if you are okay, you can also put on the chat window that what is the area and what is your current rating and what is it that you want to take it to. You can put it on the chat window as well, or if you have any question, you can just unmute and ask. We can do it together. Okay, so step number 1, I would say that it's a 3-step process. Step number 1 is to analyze that what of the 8 areas in your life, or whichever area, where are you currently and where do you want to be. This is the step number 1. Okay, so I really appreciate you taking time out for this Sunday class. And for all those who will be listening to this later on, I really appreciate that you have invested time for your growth. My job as a coach is to give you a little bit more clarity and help you find those micro actions that can take you ahead in this journey. Okay, so absolutely feel free. Thank you so much. I can see the comments started coming in.
Like, do we have to type it down, or do we have to,
You can type it down as well, or you can just put it on your journal. Whichever way is okay. I'm okay. Okay, great. This is a current state, and you can also choose a future state. So for example, for me, finance is at 2, but I want to take it to 8. From 2 to I want to take it to 8. For relationship, it is 5. I want to take it to 7. I think someone else has also joined us. Meanwhile, Realme RMX, can I request you to rename yourself? We are just doing an activity that is on the wheel of life. Yeah. So you have to rate yourself where you are on these dimensions currently and where do you want to take it. And now this will be all in front of your eyes. Okay. So it is very, very visible. Now you will see that where lies the maximum gap. Yeah, I can see Revati doing it very, very diligently. Thank you, Revati. Which area out of these eight you feel is the maximum gap for you as a person? Okay. So let's say for me, it can be career. For somebody else, it can be family and friends and relationship. For somebody else, it can be anything else. So you choose which is the focus area which is giving the maximum gap, and you choose one or two such areas where you really want to work in 2026. Yeah, my friend Shrikesh is also joined. Hi Shrikesh, good morning.
Hello, hi Nupam. Hi everybody. Good morning.
So we just started with this wheel of life activity where we are measuring ourselves that where we are currently and where we want to be. And some of us are saying that currently, let's say, I want to rate myself or the quality of my life as 2 in family, and I want to really take it to 7. And somebody may say that for health, maybe I'm at a 3, but I really want to make it a 10 on 10 because without health, I cannot survive. So this is the first step. The second step is you prioritize that what is the gap where you want to focus, which is the major gap that you want to address. Friends, these are 8 different areas for you. You can have few more areas defined, but you can only and humanly possible way is to just focus on one or two. Okay, and that is where the magic lies. See, your focus and attention will help you go a long way. Okay, and this is where the third thing is to kind of prioritize. So how do I prioritize and how do I take this further? Okay, and this is where I will add a little more inputs to you. So this is the, as they say, the heart of the workshop. So the heart of the workshop is this is a model that will help you to really make some great strides towards the goal that you want. You will be able to take some concrete actions. It is called prioritization matrix. You might have seen this earlier, but in today's coaching and group coaching format, I will add a very important layer to it. Understand that it will always be actions and micro actions that will give you results. Okay, so always remember that when you are taking an action on something and you are intentional about it, even if it is the smallest of action, it will give you great results. So I'm not a big fan of studying a day before the exam and completing the entire book. I'm a fan of, let's say, if even if we read one chapter a day and that becomes a consistent habit, that's a micro action. So you have chosen those one or two areas where you want to increase your your rating in this 2026 year. So how does this work? Let me share a story of this person called Charles Schwab. He was running a finance company, and this finance company was not doing extremely well. Okay, so it was at one point in time doing well, and now it was not doing well. So he hired a consultant, and this consultant was supposed to meet him in a coffee shop. So he met this guy, and let's call him Tom. Tom meets Mr. Charles Schwab in a coffee shop and says that, Mr. Schwab, I have heard your story. I know that you have the right intention of making your company grow. So let me tell you something. I will tell you a very simple thing to do. And if you do this, in the next 1 year, your company will not only recover the losses, but will make consistent profits. Mr. Schwab said, what is it? Tom hands over a napkin, a tissue paper to this person and said, take this tissue paper, and this is exactly the same activity that I'll ask you to do. Okay, he said, make a list of 10 to 12 things that you do on a daily basis. So he makes a note of all those things. So I do this, I come to my office, I do this, I talk to people, and he makes a list of 10 to 12 important things. Secondly, now he said that you give a rating to these actions that you take on a daily basis based on the way how they contribute to your goals. He said, okay, I do this, but it is not contributing to my goal. I do this, but yeah, that directly contributes. And this is very, very important. So this is the number one activity that I do in a day. And he ranks all those activities in a day. That was the second step. And third, he said that every day, if you are not able to complete the first, don't move to the second, which means don't multitask. Okay, so Mr. Charles Schwab said that, why is it so? Tom said that our brain is like a very, very focused machinery, and when our focus is diverted, we don't get the things done. So the art of getting things done is to focus on the priorities, friends. Okay, and when Charles Schwab was doing this, he not only got a very focused way of working, but after 1 year, the Schwab Financial Company became one of the biggest organizations. And till now, if you go to schwab.com, you will find that it is doing extremely well. So focus will help you get things done in your life. Now, how many of you, and you can just raise your hand or write a yes on the chat box, have things in your to-do list or have things in your mind which you have not done for the last 2 months, which have been really weighing on your mind? You can just write a Y or a yes on a chat box. Revati says yes, Likki says yes, it says yes. So the next simple story or a simple mind hack that I will give you will help you get rid of that. Once upon a time, there was this person who was walking through a place, okay? And when he reached that place, everybody was so happy, and they said that, you are a chosen one, and we will be really rewarding you. We'll be making a huge celebration for your welcome. And they kind of reward him, they kind of welcome him very, very nicely. In the evening, when he's enjoying all these amazing things, an old person came and said that, you know what, you have to eat the chosen delicacy of this place, because until unless our chosen one is eating that, the ritual is not complete. And they open the pan and there is a live frog staring at the person. Now, what would a person do when they are given this task of eating a live frog? They will be scared, they will try to run away, they'll try to hide. But no matter what you are doing, you are getting captured, and the person says that it's a life and death situation. If you have to survive, you have to eat that frog. Now my question is, what will you do if you get caught up in such a situation? Revati, Likki, Shrikesh, what will you do? A life and death situation. You're caught up by these strange villagers who are saying that you are the chosen one. They are also, welcoming you. But at the same time, now they have trapped you into giving you this chosen delicacy, which is a live frog. What would be your action? Go with the flow. Yeah. Revati says that I cannot and won't eat the frog. So this visualization might remain with you. But let me tell you one thing, friends. So this story was asked to me by one of my mentors. His name is Sam George, and now he is in some distant place. But once we were together, he asked this question, and he said, Anupam, how many of these frogs are still lying in your to-do list? Okay, and if we don't eat that frog, you know, the entire village is against it. But the moment we eat it, we get to enjoy the reward, we get to enjoy the fanfare, we get to enjoy the celebration and the hospitality of those people. So the sometimes these uninteresting tasks will be there, because of which you are getting a roadblock. The very first thing, which is very counterintuitive, is that first thing in the morning you eat that frog. You get rid of that task which is weighing on your list. Because once that is done, everything else is easy. Okay, so use your mind, and this goes hand in hand with the earlier point, which is micro rewards. Use your mind to trick your brain, to use your mind to kind of trick you into eating that frog. For example, one of my frogs was that I need to complete 10,000 steps. I think some of you are into walking and exercising. So I said the day I do those 10,000 steps, I treat myself with a small piece of chocolate. So that's a micro reward. So for all those frogs which are existing in your to-do list, which are stopping you from achieving it, uh, make sure that you have a micro reward as well. There is a big power of micro rewards. If you are not celebrating small successes, if you are not rewarding yourself, that pleasure center of your brain is not getting activated. Okay, so let me tie this together for you, friends. You have identified the area where you see, out of those 8 points, where lies the gap in your life. Maybe somebody is saying career, maybe somebody is saying health. What are the 10 to 12 things that you want to do in a week to address that gap? What are the 10 to 12 things that you want to do? Okay, then you give them a priority order, that this is the first, this is the second, this is the third, this is the fourth. You give a priority order to that list. And last but not the least, whichever of that is like a frog, you do that very, very first thing first. Okay, when you have done that, you have made a big progress towards the goal that you have decided. And to celebrate that, you give yourself a micro reward. This is the whole cycle. And the question that I want to leave you with is, what is the widely important goal you want to plan for this week? Widely important goal means that for that area of your life, what do you think is indispensable for your success? What are the steps that you should take? For example, health. It's indispensable that I work out for 30 minutes. Or relationship, it is indispensable that I take that time out and just have that conversation with my friends and family, so that it invests into that relationship. Or for example, career, what is indispensable or what is wildly important is that I do that study, I do that course, it helps me move ahead in the career. Or just to plan things. So look at your goals, look at your role, look at the gap areas, and create a priority matrix for yourself. What is it that you want to do? What is it that you want to do now? What is it that you want to delegate? And are there things which are just eating up your time? You better delete them from that list. Give a priority order and eat that frog. Okay? So this is what I wanted to share with you. I'll take a pause here, and you have your chance to ask your questions. If you still want me to help one-on-one, I can also give you a 30 to 40 minutes, no commitment from either side, a free coaching session where you can, ask your questions, and I can hold that space for you. This is the QR code. You can scan it, and I can help you connect, and then I can share more. But for those who are on the call, if there are any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer your question. Likki, Revati, Shrikesh, any questions you have?
So my query is, for example, when you say you prioritize and you do something first, in case of health and in case of things which are more active, or even growth when you're talking about learning videos or basically spending that time to learn. But in case of finances, I think of is cutting down on certain things, but on a daily basis, what would you suggest?
Okay, that's a good question. So there was a little bit of a technical issue hearing you, but what I made out from what you're sharing is that, let's say, if it is health or career, you can do something, but if it is finance, what is it that you can do? Right? Did I get your question right, Revati?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. So see, in terms of finance as well, the goal is important for you and you want to actually move ahead. What can be some of the day-to-day things that a person can do? Let's say if finance is the key area. Number one, maybe somebody can say that, okay, I need to prepare a monthly budget, or somebody says that, okay, I need to improve my finance knowledge, or there are things like microfinance that I have to understand, but I have to really know that where that energy, that financial energy is getting leaked. So I need to track my expenses. So there can be 10, 12 such activities which are there. The idea is to sit and to list down all these activities, and you see that which of the activities are holding high priority for you. Okay, for example, a person is rating a, a score of 2 for finance because he or she has not been intentional about the spending, and every time they're just spending on whatever is the next offer available on Amazon or on Flipkart on the big billion days of sales, and every other day there is a new sale. So the point is that it is very, very specific to the person, and you sit and you note down all the activities which are draining that energy out of your life. So finance is also, money is also an energy. Okay, relationship, that is also an energy. Career, that is also an energy. So what are those points where it is getting drained? And you give them an order of priority. Which of the leakages would you like to stop first? And eat the frog first, which means what is it that you have been pushing back for quite some time? For example, some people are not very good with a financial discipline, that hey, I need to create a wish list for the items that I truly want to purchase. As they do not have that kind of a list with them, they end up purchasing whatever next thing is available on sale. So I would say that take that time out, take that point of reflection, and you make a note of all those things which are impacting the financial health. Let's say if that is the area where you are, and you give a priority order that which of them is the number one priority, number two, number three, and out of them, removing which first or eating that frog first will create the maximum impact. Yeah, so I'll take a pause. Was I able to answer your question in any shape and form? Revati, did I answer your question?
Yes, you did. You did. So basically, your points about cutting down on unnecessary expense or things that you probably don't need versus what you really need, do the assessment, and then that itself is the first step, is what you're saying.
Correct. And there can be more. When you sit journaling and when you sit looking and reflecting at it, there can be more things. Okay, so long time back, one of my friends, he was, hitting a rock bottom in finances. His problem was not the finances. His problem was that he was not very intentional creating a portfolio. By the way, I have a friend on call. His name is Shrikesh. He's very good with personal finance, and he's doing that. So if in case anybody requires that kind of a hand holding, I think he would be the right person. So sometimes it is also about getting in touch with people who are having that kind of a financial acumen, who can help you with that goal, with your goal. Okay, so that also is a game changer many times. So for this guy, it was not about the lack of finances, but the way how he created a goal for himself. And I'm talking back in 2014, he sat and he created a financial plan for himself, and now he's doing extremely well in his life. Okay, he's more in control. Okay, so the invitation here, friends, is that create the best 2026 for you in the area that you have chosen, that you want to work upon, what is it that you would like to do differently every week? So what is your one takeaway from this session? Just write it on the chat window so that it can be a good sharing for all of us, that for the area where you have chosen to improve in 2026, out of those 8 areas or any other area, what is one thing that you would like to do differently, or what is your one takeaway from the session, and then we can close it. You can either go off mute or you can just type on the chat window.
For me, the risk and reward thing, the activity and the reward thing really struck a chord, because all of the habits that I consistently follow, like the daily reading routine, my daily walks, are also always associated with the micro reward afterward. Like after I go for a walk, there's a tea or a Horlicks that I have, or when immediately I'm done with my morning newspaper reading, I go have breakfast. So there is always this micro reward that's associated with most of my daily habits. So that's like that's struck a chord when you mentioned that. So, for all those tasks that are pending on my list, I think this is a technique that I can apply. And you talked about prioritization, and I was listening to this podcast recently where they said that if you are tasked with creating a pedestal and getting a monkey to recite Shakespeare on that pedestal, most of us will start building the pedestal first. But in reality, what we need to focus on is getting the monkey to recite Shakespeare. That's the toughest part of it. So
Exactly.
I think the mistake that a lot of us make when we're trying to prioritize, when we have a list of action items, is we focus on the easiest rather than focusing on the most impactful. So those two, items really resonated with me. Thanks as always for these useful sessions, Anupam.
Thank you, Shrikesh. And Revati writes here, breaking things down into smaller measurable bits, small but consistent steps will add rewards. Wonderful. Licky says, prior I used to do micro reward, later I did macro. We are in pampered too much. Yeah, so you have to keep it in proportion. Sometimes, so it's the power of the micro rewards, Licky, because sometimes when we go macro, really we go overboard, and it gets into a different cycle altogether. And friends, really, if you are keeping your focus on one of these dimensions, then let it be the consistent focus for the next 52 weeks. Definitely you will move ahead, and the score, when you come back to that wheel of life exercise, the score will definitely improve. And Shikesh was giving a beautiful example of training the monkey first. I would say that in the mindfulness philosophy and the Buddhist philosophy, they call it training the monkey mind, because many a times this internal chatter of the monkey mind goes. So even if you are finding some difficulties, making some mistakes, that is all right. That is all part of the process. As somebody said, that make new mistakes, make 3 mistakes every day, make new mistakes every day, and you call it research. That's how we keep on learning every day. Okay. So I wish you all the very best for your goals. Next time when we meet, I will take you a little bit more deeper to understand how we can prioritize with perfection, and how we can kind of plan these steps in a really, really solid way, and what are some of the tools to help us do that. I'll be sharing some of that in the next class, next Sunday, 10 a.m. And yes, definitely, the mindset plays a big role in it. If any of you would like to get into a bonus or a free pro bono one-to-one discussion as well, it is my open invitation. Somebody did this clarity session for me long time back, so I'm just paying it forward, and I'm sure that if you can get benefited with from it, you can definitely share it with others. So thank you so much for your time, Likhi, Revati, and Shrikesh. I wish you a great day ahead.